Sorry, guys, for some reason the stream stopped. So here we are. I have an amazing husband, Brian. I have two beautiful children, Brooke and Blake. They are hilarious and we have a great time together. But like I said, I have the consulting company, real estate company, construction company, um, non for profits. Um, I, we do a lot. How do you handle work life balance? So, this is a very tough thing for entrepreneurs. And I feel like, especially for women entrepreneurs, because we have such a huge role at home as well. We're the heart of the home. So, when you are an entrepreneur and a wife or mom, it's a lot. And I can admit that I absolutely crashed, burned, and failed on this whole work life balance thing a few years ago. I was in a very, 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 very stressful job, and I couldn't think past work and all of the stressful things that was going on at work. And so my family, when they would see me, they didn't really have me. I was just constantly just thinking about work. When I left that job, my husband was, he just sat me down like, listen, we didn't like her. You was always on edge. You just always, it was just, you always stressed out. Like I couldn't have fun. Y'all, it was so much on me. And so I decided at that point, you know what? I don't want to be her. I want to be able to enjoy my life, enjoy the blessings that God has given me, enjoy my children and my husband. So I decided that I have to set some boundaries. And so um, I work, well, okay, I work 7 days a week because of, my the fields that I'm in, but I absolutely make time and protect the time that I have for my husband and my children. And then the rest of my family, like we all still get together. Um, it's it's not easy, especially when I have stuff going on at work and I have deadlines to meet and I have clients to service. But I don't want to end up by myself. And so I had to put some things into perspective, do time management, really, really get the time management going so that I would make sure that I meet all my goals at work, service my clients, but also be there for my family. So if anybody tells you work life balance is easy, I just I think they lying because it's still a struggle. But I make a conscious effort to be intentional about the things that I do and how I build my schedule. I still fail some days. Some days are just terrible, but um, I bounce back. And my children, they have my attention when we're here. My husband has my attention, and they know that I am trying. I'm making an effort. They give me some grace, and so I think I got a good balance. I hope they would say the same. Number three, have you ever been harassed or discriminated against? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's start off with the harassment. When I was in property management, I lived on site. I managed 762 properties or something, or 792 properties. Yeah, that sounds about right. And when I lived on site in one of my buildings, people were, they get upset. I have to collect rent. You know, we start off nice, and then like you still don't pay the rent, so then I got to kind of get like a little bit more stern, or there are different violations and things that I have to act on. I'm not saying that I love those things, but I had a job to do, so I've been threatened. I had somebody that sat in my office, would not leave. I had to call the police because he said he was not leaving. He just didn't understand why, whatever it was that he did that he couldn't do. Um, and I had some pretty interesting encounters. But yes, I have been harassed. Yes, I was working in a very predominantly white neighborhood. Um, when I'm talking on the phone, I sound like I'm Caucasian. And when people come into my office and I say, "Hey, I'm Lindsay," they're like, "Oh, you're Lindsay." Then the tables turn. Like that respect that I got before they met me, then they try to pull it because I'm black. Y'all, I'm so sick of that whole double standard thing. I know it is what it is. I know it's not going anywhere, but it is draining having to be a black woman in a predominantly white neighborhood or white industry where everybody thinks they're right and everybody's uncle is an attorney. Uh, it just, it's just so draining. They do not act the same with, my coworkers. They didn't act the same. So I was, I was definitely threatened, um, called out my name. Oh my God. Discriminated against. Absolutely. I'm not treated the same. I don't get the same advantages as others. And it kind of comes with the territory. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that I get it and I know how to work around it to still get things that I need done or things that I want. It's an art to being a successful, strong black woman. Uh, Unfortunately, it is what it is. In in real estate as a realtor, oh my goodness. People look at me like, yeah, I don't want her to list my house. Like, ain't that nothing? Black is beautiful. We have some special things about us as black women that you be missing out on because you are discriminating against us because of the color of our skin. They don't care that we have the education. They don't care that we have the experience. It's still because of our appearance. I was laughing when I was diagnosed with vitiligo. I said, well, I mean, half white. They didn't think that was funny. But hey, it comes with the territory. I would be a fool to think that it would all be sunshine, blue skies, roses. It is what it is. So I think that's what makes us as black women even more creative because we have to endure and encounter these situations and still be able to get done what we need to get done. Number 4, how did you persevere through the tough times? Wow. Well, first of all, I have a very strong relationship with God. I believe in God, and I believe that I have absolutely nothing without Him. I am absolutely nothing without Him, and I will be foolish to stand here and pretend like that's not it, because that's what it is. But I, wow, tough times. I've had them. Um, I had a very, very, very life changing experience last year, and I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary. I call it Warrior Day. I haven't spoke about this publicly for several reasons. Sometimes when you're in real estate or you're in different positions in business, um, people may take your testimony as a weakness and they may not want to work with you. And so I wanted to wait until I was strong enough to be able to share this um, this experience. So back in May of last year, um, let me back up even more. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and general anxiety disorder. It started Well, I've suffered from separation anxiety for several years, several since I was a little girl, because my mom would travel a lot for work. And so, not really addressing it or dealing with it, it just, snowballs into other things. And so, when I was diagnosed with those things a few years ago, it was right towards the end of the very, very, very stressful job that I ended up having to leave for health reasons. So I decided to go ahead and start taking medication. Um, mhm. Some of my family was supportive. Some of my family said they didn't want me on those pills because, that's all the people trying to do is to drug us up. I disagree. um, and so I was on medication. And so last year I needed an adjustment in my medication, but I was having a very, 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 very bad low. I spiraled all the way down to the absolute lowest that I had ever been in. Hi, Brookie. Um, Brooke always wants to say hi when I'm talking. Uh, so I was having suicidal thoughts. I was crying uncontrollably. I couldn't get myself together. I was already in therapy, and shout out to my therapist. I love you so much. And I support therapy, y'all. It's nothing bad about it. It's nothing crazy. You're not crazy. Go to therapy. Um, my therapist couldn't get me regulated. My husband couldn't get me regulated. So my therapist told my husband to take me to the emergency room. Needless to say, they locked me up. They sent my husband home. They took all of my stuff, phone, everything. They locked it up in the room. I was in the room. They could have just had handcuffs on me. Like, that's how bad it was. And they left me there for hours. I kept calling for the nurse. The nurse would not come. They wouldn't tell me anything. The first time that somebody came in there was when it was the ambulance. I'm sorry, not the ambulance itself. The paramedics. They said that they're coming to. They were my ride. I'm like, my ride where? And they said some facility name. I said, well, what's that? And then they looked at me like, you don't know? No, I don't. They locked me in a mental institution. And it was the most horrifying experience of my entire life. And I have vowed to, once I was well enough, to be an advocate for people that don't have a voice, that get locked up in those facilities and don't get the help that they need. I simply needed an adjustment in my medication. They took that as, oh, let's lock her up against her will. Literally, against my will. I could have signed myself in or not. They weren't releasing me. Nobody could come pick me up. It was none of that. I was locked up. And it was absolutely horrible. It was during COVID. The facility was disgusting. The staff, disgusting. They my roommate said that before I got there, they hadn't cleaned the room or the shower or anything. So I'm just in other people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Food was disgusting. Did I get any help? Really? No. It was very horrible. I did meet some amazing people though. But I can go into greater detail about that at a later date. But anyway, I finally got released, and I I was on. They adjusted my medication, so I was able to go meet with my therapist, and then we were able to do some work. Because now I'm traumatized because these people locked me up against my will. I couldn't talk to my babies. I couldn't talk to my husband. None of my family really. It was the worst experience of my entire life. But I worked with my therapist after that to um, basically make sure I don't ever get into that position again. And sometimes we need that. We need that moment to get things straight, put the right things in place so that our minds, our hearts, our spirits are protected so that we don't, um, have to face something so traumatic as that. So, a long story short, how do I persevere? I prayed, I sought help, and I did the work. I had to show up every day and do the work. Whether I felt like it or not, I did the work. What are the biggest challenges to being an entrepreneur? Listen, money, um, people not, if you don't have like entrepreneur circles or friends, uh, people don't understand and they think you're doing too much or, um, why are you doing that or why are you not going here and why are you not doing this like we used to do? Because now your sights are set on your goal and your business. But one of the biggest challenges for me was to get funding, working capital. Another challenge was staffing. So in the beginning, you're doing everything yourself. And so you get burned out really quickly because you want to have this level of professionalism, and you're only one person. So I'm blessed to be able to now have a team, to help me, help our clients and things. But it's difficult. It's difficult in the beginning, and at the end of the day, everything falls on you anyway. So if you make not bad, poor choices in hiring, that falls on you. If you make amazing choices in hiring, that falls on you too. So it's not always bad, but yeah, money and time. Number 6. What is a typical day like for you? So there's no such thing as a typical day. No such thing as a typical day. My days are ridiculous. Thank God for my staff. They're the only ones that understand. My phone rings all day, several times an hour. And I'm on the phone. The other phone rings. I'm picking up that phone. Somebody stops in. Somebody does this. I get emails. I'm like, it's ridiculous. Then throw in when I'm going to show properties. There's no typical day, but I have a great time. Whether I'm out looking at properties with my clients. First of all, I love looking at properties. Like when I was younger, my dad would take us to like in the Christmas time around to see the different lights in the houses. But I was being like a creep. I love to like see people in the house. Like when their windows are open, I'm like, ooh, what are they doing? What are they eating for dinner? What they got on? I just love to see how people live. So hilarious that I'm in real estate now, and now I see that all day long. Uh, but showing properties, taking phone calls, answering emails, interviewing, talking with clients, servicing my clients, going to different events, doing networking. Oh, and then like my kids be want to eat dinner and stuff. They always ask me, "What's for dinner?" I said, "Well, who told you that you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day? Like, why you keep asking me what's for lunch, what's for breakfast, what's for dinner?" One night we had popsicles. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, don't judge me. Uh, so a typical day, no such thing. Don't you feel intimidated being the only woman in the room? Absolutely not. I love being the only woman in the room. Men aren't as, women, it would be nice if we all celebrated each other, but that's just not the reality. So, nope, I don't feel intimidated being the only woman in the room. I do feel intimidated when I am in the room with a bunch of people. I wouldn't say intimidated, I take that back. I'm an introvert. And so I'm like, it's just all these people around. I'd rather just be by myself or just with one person. Good old introvert tendencies. But intimidated, no. Um, when I'm in these other circles and neighborhoods where I'm the only Black woman, that part is a little bit more difficult because I'm still overcoming all the years of, the negativity that we've had to endure as a people. Uh, and just in my mind, like, am I good enough? Like, am I good enough? I'm at the table with them, having to go through that constant battle. uh but the key is I show up. I go through it. They can never tell. What's my favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur? Having a um my schedule is very flexible. Every no 2 days are the same. Sometimes I hate that, but no 2 days are the same. Flexible schedule, and I get to spend more time with my family. Kind of, it's like that's the truth and a lie. It depends on the week. But I absolutely love what I do. I don't feel like I get up and go to work every day. I just get up to go have fun with my staff and my clients. So, um, all in all, I love being an entrepreneur. Number 9, how do you do it all? I would say drugs, but I don't know who's listening. No, just kidding. I do not do drugs. Sometimes I feel like I'm on drugs, but no. Um, Honestly, I journal in the mornings. I go for walks when I'm actually doing right with my exercise. I read my word. I listen to motivational, you know, calming things on YouTube. I go to therapy and I spend time with my family. I make sure that I have a very strong relationship with my family. I've dealt with a lot of loss in my life and lately, and life is so precious. And so I make sure that I'm grounded by staying with those who I love and that love me back. What do I want to achieve next? That's a great question. Um, I am going to get back into dancing and putting on productions. Shout out to my cousin Tammy. That's my girl. That's my partner in crime. We gonna ride till the wheels fall off. Um, but as I continue to grow my businesses, my consulting business, my real estate business, I do want to get back into the arts. I don't know when I'll have time, so I can't put a time on it. But when I do it, I will have time. In the meantime, we're launching our property management department of our company. I'm actually excited to do this again. It'll be different though. I won't be the property manager. I'll be the boss, but still to be able to help people. Um, I've experienced some very nasty property managers, and I don't think that it has to be all that. Yes, some people fall on hard times and they can't pay their rent. Yes, some people are just trifling and don't pay their rent, but it's not all bad. And we get to meet some really amazing individuals who don't always rent. They do end up buying. So that is what our new venture is, and we're actually launching it this week. So if you have any properties that need a property manager, a property management company, let me know. I'd appreciate the referrals. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't want to keep you guys past half an hour, but good old technology kicked me out of the stream. Uh, Thank you so much for joining me today and listening to me ramble on about my little life. I hope that something encouraged you or sparked something in you to give you the strength to continue to go on. I just want you to know that you are amazing and you can do it. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And you know what? Everybody's not going to be happy. Everybody's not going to be in your corner. But if you do the things that God has laid on your heart to do, so what? He will send the support. He will send the love. He will send all of the things that you need to accomplish those goals that you have. I am your biggest cheerleader. So if you ever need to talk to me so you can hear the cheering, just call me. Get me on Facebook. I'll try to figure out how to answer. So I'm terrible with my messages, y'all, but I'm gonna get better. But I just want you to know that you are amazing and the world needs you. You have something to say and we need to hear it. So don't be discouraged. Life is hard. Sometimes it sucks, but there is a rainbow at the end of the rain. Have an amazing week, and I hope I'll see you back here next Tuesday. I have a very special guest next Tuesday, and we're going to keep this going. Talk to y'all later.
If you like this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and follow us on the Twitter.